Expert product manager communication is full of jargon, and in today's video, we're continuing to discuss and cover the most important product management terms you need to know to uplevel your PM skills. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. My name is Alex, and on this channel, we talk about product management, getting into the top tech careers, and thriving and accelerating your product career. By the end of this video, you'll become familiar with the more advanced product terms that are used all over the tech business landscape. If you haven't seen the first part in our PM terms series, please check it out right there. It's a great primer if you're not familiar with the terminology, and then come on right back to this video. I'll wait. Oh, you're back? Great, let's do it. The terms for this video: PMF, NPS, AOR, POC, MRR, ARR, TAM, SOM, HC, YOY, MOM, and CAGR. CAGR? Not sure. I say CAGR. All right, let's dig in. The first term is PMF. That stands for Product Market Fit. When we talk about startups, the very first stage of startup success, true startup success, is product market fit. Most companies actually never find it, either sell or go out of business or become niche businesses early on. Truly scalable businesses need to find the product market fit, which is effectively when there are users that really want the product or service and engage with the product and service, and you see a little bit of virality. You basically see engagement and true first early product success. A lot of times when you're pitching a new idea, either in a startup or inside of a big business, you're going to be looking for that PMF, product market fit, before you can really scale the business. Net Promoter Score is a commonly used business metric to evaluate whether your customers or users actually like your product or service, and it can be indicative of future success. The main thing to take away from it is that it is one question that is generally asked to a customer, basically a survey question that says, do you like the product? Would you continue using the product? Rate the product from 1 to 10. The 9s and 10s are the true promoters. They really love your product. The 6, 7, or 8, or maybe just the 7 and 8, are those that feel ambivalent or neutral about the product. And the 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 are really the detractors. They are actively unhappy with your product. And by taking the percentage of your promoters and subtracting the percentage of your detractors, you get the Net Promoter Score. The more promoters versus detractors you have, the healthier the business. It's a commonly used metric. It's relatively easy to implement, and that is why you can kind of compare businesses and products and services to one another based on this common method of evaluation. And the survey question usually is, how likely are you to recommend this product from 1 to 10? Moving on to AOR and POC. Those are kind of related concepts. POC is the point of contact. That can be anybody that is representing a particular organization, product, or company. You could have a POC for engineering, POC for product, UX, etc. within an org. An AOR is an area of responsibility. You could have a certain POC have an AOR of engineering or support or design or even decision making. Effectively is, what are your duties and responsibilities? What is your area of responsibility? And is commonly used to describe organizational arrangements. If you are in the bigger tech companies, you could have different POCs for different AORs. And anytime you can use two acronyms in the same sentence, you get double points. Moving on to some business terms that come into play when you're evaluating the size of a business or the size of an opportunity, or just describing certain aspects of your product or service. MRR and ARR is monthly recurring revenue or annual recurring revenue. Very commonly used metrics, certainly for software as a service, SaaS, but also really for any business that wants to have long-term success. The reason why recurring revenue is an area of focus is because it's always easier to convince someone that already knows your business or service and already has some experience with it to buy more, to spend more, to invest more, as opposed to just finding somebody else basically off the street, a completely new customer. So the focus for a lot of businesses is to get recurring revenue for certain companies in a given month, quarter, or year to be at a certain level. And a lot of times that is going to be the measure used, not the number of customers or not the actual dollars billed. Annual recurring revenue is one of the most frequently used metrics for late stage or mid stage companies like your Google, Amazon, and etc. When you're evaluating a business unit, a lot of times it's going to be, what's the ARR? What is the ARR impact if we launch this feature? What is the ARR impact if this customer churns? For smaller companies or early stage companies, MRR is equally important. It's monthly recurring revenue. You're trying to grow that monthly recurring revenue month over month. MRR, monthly recurring revenue, can be influenced by seasonality. So November, December, popular shopping months. January, usually a slow month. So there's definitely seasonal variations when you use MRR, which is why ARR is often used as a normalizer to say, how would you compare this year versus last year? What was the ARR last year versus this year? Now what's the growth? YOY or MOM are year over year or month over month respective growth. Most big companies, most companies that want to scale, are very focused on the month over month growth. How much business did you do this month versus last month? Is it 5% more, 10% more, 20, 50% more? How many new clients did you sign this year versus last year? A lot of times with big scalable companies, it's about the growth. It is not about the actual numbers, although you usually will post the numbers as well, and then you give the growth as well. So not necessarily the revenue, but the growth in revenue. Not necessarily the number of clients, but the growth in number of clients. And often it will be month over month or year or both. While we're on the subject of growth, there's also this concept of CAGR, which is CAGR, CAGR, compound annual growth rate. This will be used in a lot of business forecasts, and you can use it to understand what may happen to your business when you're making a theory or a model about it. You're trying to evaluate the compound annual rate of growth. So if your rate of growth over 1 year was 10%, then over 2 years, it will be 10% twice, which is 21% aggregate. And if you do this over a number of periods, months or quarters or years, you're going to get a compound growth rate. And a lot of times that's going to be larger or smaller than the sum of its parts. And we use this term to show the growth over multiple time periods. Really, anytime you're developing a product or service or business, you need to understand the TAM and the SOM. TAM is the total addressable market, and SOM is the share of market. So imagine you could reach every single one of your customers for your product, business, or service. If all those customers paid you the full amount of what your service or product costs, that is your TAM. Usually that's evaluated in ARR. So what is the TAM ARR? 1 million could be 10 billion, it could be 1 trillion. It depends on what we're talking about. Usually the more important term though is the SOM, which is the share of market. So realistically, what is the share of market that you could possibly expect? So let's say in a given year, the TAM for haircuts is $1 billion. And if you run a hair salon in San Francisco, what is your realistic share of market? So a lot of times when you're pitching a startup, you're going to want to take an estimate of who your potential customers are, how much they spend in a given time period, and how much of that TAM can you realistically hope to capture. And the final term today that we're going to cover is HC, which is headcount. And it comes up whenever you're doing organizational or business planning of any kind. You're trying to assign certain headcount to a particular project. Sometimes it's half an HC, quarter, 0.1, or 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. When teams are making plans, they can assign certain headcount of engineering resources, UX resources, PM resources to certain products. And then that planning usually is done on a team level, on an org level, and on a company level. And when you're requesting additional headcount, you would also be requesting additional HC for your team. I'm putting together a community where product managers like yourself can learn from one another and help one another to become better PMs and advance their careers as well. If you're interested in joining such a community, please first smash the like button, sign up for this community so you'll be the first to know when it launches. If you liked this video, please smash the like button as always, but also sign up for Practical Product Management newsletter that I run on alexrachevsky.substack.com. That's going to be in the description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Is it level? I don't know. Looks level. Pretty level. I can't tell if it's level. I keep sliding back. Anyway, let's get back into it. By the way, have you seen part 1 of this video?